الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفر ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. We're here today on the Tajweed class. This is our fourth lesson. That is after we did the introduction from Jamzuri, Tuhfat al-Atfal. Then we did the 10 issues or the 10 fundamentals that everyone needs to know. And then after that we covered a few basics with regards to tilawa, wal-qira'ah, and those types of things. And now we're here starting the fourth lesson, and it's going to deal directly and strictly with the text. So let's go right ahead and jump into it. The text, again, it says, the next chapter, after the first chapter of this text is called Ahkam Noon As-Sakinah wa tanween. Okay, now we're going to go through this piece by piece. This is the title of the first chapter. Okay? Ahkam is the plural of the word hukum. It's the plural of hukum. A hukum is a rule. Okay? Regulation. So ahkam would mean the rules of noon. Noon is the letter that is ma'ruf. A letter from amongst the letters of the Arabic alphabet that start off with alif and end off with, depending on where you go, it might end off with ya, or it might end off with ghain if you do an abjadiyya. Abjadiyya is abjad, hawaz, huttiya, kaliman, sa'fas, qurishat, thakhid, dadig. So it ends with ghain. If you do alifun, ba'un, ta'un, tha'un, jimun, ha'un, kha, dal, raza, sin, shin, sad, dad, ta, dha, ayn, ghain, fa, qaf, kaf, lam, mim, noon, ha, wa, ya, then it ends off with ya. So the important thing here is that noon is that letter that is well known, very simple, well known as a letter of the alphabet. Okay? It comes from the word kalman. Okay? From kalman, it's the last letter in that when we do the abjadiyya, the noon. Okay? The next one is as-sakinah. This word as-sakinah, if we break it down, we have alif and lam. Alif and lam mean the. That means what it means. Alif and lam mean the. That's all it means. Here. The rest of the word is from the root word sin, kaf, noon, which means sakana, meaning he resided. It means here to reside. Why does it mean to reside? Because aslan, this word means to sit still, to be at rest. So, be at rest, I should say. To have no movement. So somebody says sakana because at nighttime, that's where they rest. That's where they reside. That's where, here in Brooklyn or in New York, we say, where you rest. Where I rest at, I second, I reside, askunu, at a particular place. That's what it literally means. The first place we see this in the Quran, Allah says, Ya Adam uskun anta wa zawjuka, or Ya Adam uskun. Skun here means reside, be there. Anta wa zawjuka al-jannah. You and your wife reside, sit still in Jannah. That's the first place we see that word. If we read from Al-Fatiha through Baqarah, first place we see that word is in that ayah. As a terminology, it means it is the absence of a vowel sound over or in with regards or dealing with a particular letter. Okay? So, what it means, and I don't know about the spelling of absence, maybe it's with a C or something like that. I don't want to get into that. We do it the old school way. Spelling don't count. If you understand the point, then we good. All right? So, here, when we're talking about noon and sakinah together, now we did them individually. Now we're talking about the noon that has no, let's go right here. The noon that has no vowel sound over it. Okay? No vowel sound, no movement. It's not saying na, ni, nu. It's not saying anything. That's what we're referring to here. Now, a sign, the sign, to show that a letter is nun sakina is this. I'll show you. This is the sign showing, or alama, for nun sakina. This right here. Can you see that pretty good? Okay, that is the sign over a letter to show that it is nun sakina. Sometimes when you're writing freehand, you'll see this as a sign that that letter is sakin. What does this mean? This sign that you'll see in the Quran, many different places, is actually from kha, the letter kha. But what has been taken away? The tail has been cut, and the diacritical mark has been taken away, so the only thing you're left with is this part of it. Now, why do they use the letter kha as a representation, a sign that this letter is second? Okay, so we say second, like that. Or this number 5, this is the number 5 in Arabic also. The reason why they use kha, because it means khalin, it means the absence, void, khali, khalau fil ard, this was emptiness, khalau ila shayatinihim, they were alone with their shayateen, Allah says in the Quran. So here it is, khalin means the absence of, or void of. So instead of writing this over the letter, they just write the kha without anything on it. And that's what you have as a sign. And the person who's studying tajweed, this is regards to the Quran. So he has to know that when he sees it in the mushaf. Okay? So, moving right along. And then the number 5, like I said, this little thing right here, it means number 5. And it's easy to write, because people, when they're writing, if I say kuntu, for example, kun-tu, someone would write it like that. Other person would write it like this. They would say kun, and they would do a circle around it like that. And this sign here is a sukoon, this sign here is a sukoon. Both of them are representation of a sukoon, or the absence of a vowel sound there, and both are acceptable. Okay? Do you have any questions about that? Moving right along. And this is a very basic class that we want you guys to have, but there are certain things that you cannot go past too fastly. Some people might say, well, let's just translate the title of this section and move on. That's not how it's dealt with when you're starting to learn this science. What you're dealing with as you're learning, remember, you're learning how to recite Quran, the rules of reciting. So in that, you need to know what these terms mean. Okay, you have vocabulary that you're learning and how to recognize them when you see them. So that's what we're doing here. Next we have here, what tanweeni. Wa means and. Very simple word. Everybody's familiar with that. Every time you say assalamu alaikum, you respond by saying wa alaikum assalam. Wa, and upon you. It's the source of peace and perfection. Okay? So here we have that. We just go here like this. The next word here is a tanween. Again, we have alif wal lam. Alif wal lam means what? It means the. Okay, the or the. It's the before vowel, it's the before the rest of the consonants, okay? The rest of the word is tanween, okay? Tanween is in actuality two things. It is the form, what we call taf'il, that's the form of the word right here, where you have a ta in front of the word and a ya in the middle of the first and second radical. What are we? Oh, we call root. The root is the fa, the ain, and the lam of the word. In between that, we have a ta and a ya. So, if we take away the ta and the ya, the letters that are left off is the noon, wow, and noon. Wow, look at that, subhanallah. So this tanween means noon. Okay? Noon. What does it actually mean? It means the sound of noon. As opposed to noon is Sakinah is the actual noon written. Like I said, the letter that is ma'ruf. Here what is meant is the sound that noon makes without actually writing the letter noon down. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, there are signs to see this too. The signs of tanween are a fathatan. We do this. This line, when you see it, it means that what is above it is above the letter. And what is below it is below the letter. So this right here would be dhammatan. This right here would be fathatan. And this right here would be kasratan. These are the signs of tanween. Right here. 1, 2, 3. Everybody with me? Now, we're going to get into a little detail as we go along. But right now, this is just the first part of what I wanted you guys to understand. And then we're going to go back right now to Noon Sakinah. Okay? Let me go. I stated earlier, may I clean up? Everybody good? I'll start over here. After understanding what we're talking about in just as a basic, we have to go back to this title and say, Ahkamun Noon Sakinah wa Tanween. We know that Noon Sakinah is the noon that does not have a vowel sign over it, right? Am I talking to myself? Okay, so say right. Even people that's home watching, you respond to the TV or to the VCR or whatever the thing is called nowadays, and that'll help you learn. Okay? So, now what we're going to do, insha'Allah ta'ala, we're going to take a look at this. Noon is Sakinah. Because before we go, we have to know that you know exactly what we're referring to. Now, the difference between the Noon Sakinah and the tanween, there's a big difference. Noon Sakinah happens in the middle of the letter, at the end of the letter, even at the beginning of a word. I'm saying a letter. At the beginning of a word, the middle of a word, or at the end of a word. But it happens in one word. Whereas tanween only happens between two words. Okay? Alimun Hakim. You understand where I'm coming from? And so that's the difference. This is between two words. This is in one word. Next, I said another difference is this one, Noon Sakinah, you write the actual noon down. In this one, there's not an actual noon written down, but a sign representing the pronunciation of the noon sound. Everybody with me? Okay. Going right along, we need to look at all the different types of Noon Sakinah so that we can look at it. Noon Sakinah comes after a fatha. So we say an. Say an. It also comes after a kasra. In. Un. These are all Noon Sakinah. Okay? The next one would be ba. Ben. Bin. Bun. Jen. Jin. Jun. Everybody, you guys are men. You know, the ladies didn't come out tonight. So sound off, 1, 2. Come on, let's hear some bass. Make the people who hear this wish they were here. Okay? So, dan, say dan. Din. Dun. Is that big enough? Should I write larger? Okay. Han. Hin. Hun. Hun. Here we're pronouncing that noon. Hun. Your tongue goes up and it makes that sound. When. When. One. All these are the Noon Sakinah. Zen. Zin. Zun. Han. Different from han, we said han. Hin. Hun. Ton. Tin. Tun. Yan. Subhanallah. Yin. Yun. Can. Kin. Kun. Len. Lin. Lun. Men. Min. Mun. Nan. Nin. Nun. Can I clean up over this side? Yes? The point here is that before we go over and examine the rules of Nun and Sakinah, we have to what? Know how to recognize and be fully familiar, cover your mouth when you're on, fully familiar with Nun and Sakinah and tanween. So we're going to go over it. Okay. San. Sin. Sun. An. Ain. Un. Fan. Thin. Fun. Come on. Son. Sin. Son. Let me clean the rest of this up. So we're doing ahkam an-nun as-sakinah wa tanween. Okay? Right now we're doing just the nun as-sakinah. And the nun as-sakinah is going to come in front, behind all those different letters we showed in one of those different forms. And that's the only way you're going to hear it. The way we're going over it now are all the ways the nun as-sakinah may possibly come in a word. Okay? Bun. Kun. Qin. Now we're saying kun, not kun. Kun is in the back of your throat. Kun. Make it pop. Kun. It should pop out, okay? Run. Rin. Run. Shan. Shin. Shun. Ten. Ten. Tin. Tun. ساعة فاس كل شيء ثقيل. Thin. Thin. Thun. Khan. Khin. Khun. Then. That. Like we say the word the. Same sound. You say these and this and that. Same sound. Say then. Then. Dhun. Dhun. It's teeth and tongue. Sheikh Qasim used to teach us. Take your tongue between your teeth. Okay, dhun. Dhan. Dhin. Dhun. Dhan. Dha. Dhan. Dhin. Dhun. And then lastly, ghan. Like you have a gun. Ghan. Ghin. Gun. And these are all the noon is Sakinah. So you've pronounced them all, insha'Allah ta'ala. You've seen them all, insha'Allah ta'ala. And you've heard them all, insha'Allah ta'ala. And in this way, as we go through this, you'll be familiar to what we're looking at and what we're investigating during this chapter. A noon is Sakinah. Now it's time for tanween. There are 4 types of tanween. 4 types. So we're going to go over, first of all, what is tanween and what it looks like. We already mentioned that it's the noon sound. But just like we did this right here, we have to go over it. We have to be very meticulous because, again, tajweed is not a science that you have to figure it out. It's a science that you learn. You learn through the meticulous study. And meticulous, we mean we go over word for word of the speech of Allah, the Quran. And this is the mabadi. This is the beginning part of this whole study. So those people who are impatient, who want to just give it to me quickly and move on, we're giving it to you as quick as we can give it. You know, if you want it any faster, you have to come sit down and sit all day long because we usually just do this in a day. You know, we take the time to do this class, but usually you're sitting with the sheikh for a couple of hours. Okay? Maybe not the sheikh, astaghfirullah, not the sheikh, but one of the student teachers that he's put forward for you to spend some time with. They give you more time than the sheikh. You go to the sheikh when you're ready to test. Okay, and then he gives you more than what the other teachers have given you in the course of the whole couple of hours, in a few minutes. But that only happens because you've prepared yourself. You sat down with the teacher for a few hours, and he went over these things. So then when you sit in front of the sheikh, you're not wasting his time. Okay? And he cannot beat you up, but beat your teacher up. And say, what, didn't you tell him this? Didn't you? Who's your, like they say in medical school, they say, who is your anatomy teacher? You know, they ask you, who is your anatomy? Who is your tajweed teacher? Didn't you hear about who taught you Arabic? You know, didn't you know about these things? And so first of all, I said there's 4 types of tanween. Oh, this pen is no good. There's 4 types of tanween. And this pen is not that great. Anyway, there's 4 types of tanween. So the first, we have tamkeen, which is the main one that people see all the time. And that's the first one that we're going to deal with. But here, we're going to show you what it looks like. You see, this is tanween. Say an. In. Un. And this is with hamza. An, in, un. Ban. Bin. Bun. And I did this on purpose because you can either write the tanween like this, or you can write the tanween like this. Okay? It's basically the same thing. There is a difference. There is a meaningful difference. We're not going to talk about it at this very moment. As we go through the rules, I'll explain what the difference is looking at it. But right now, I just want you to get accustomed to recognize it. We don't want anybody to be pigeonholed. An educated person is not uptight. He don't get angry when he sees something strange. He thinks. He uses his critical thinking abilities to try to figure out what's going on. And if he doesn't, he says, Allahu A'lam, and he goes and finds someone to tell him, as Allah says in the Quran, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ ذِكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Go ask the people who know if you don't know. Okay? So, ban, bin, bun, jan, Jin, Jun. Dan, Din, Dun. Han. And now here, let me do this differently. Hin, Hun. When, Win, Wun. Zen, Zin, Zun. Han, Hin, Hun. Ton, Tin, Tun. Yan, Yin, Yun. Ken. You could do it this way. Kin. Kun. Let me stop for a second and show you something. Kaf is written like this, and then you put a hamza in the middle of it at the end of a word. Okay? Why did I write it like this? Okay, these are the things, the little things that we pick up. You don't, when you're writing freehand, you're not going to stop and then go like that. So what you find, the teachers teaching you like, of writing, teaching reading and teaching writing, you make the line and then you come back over. This hook here is a representation of the hamza that's supposed to be there on the kaf. Okay? So, I know that's not hard to figure out, and maybe people could have figured it out, but we want to make it clean and plain for everybody so they don't have to figure it out and hesitate. Okay? So that's all that is. Lan, Lin, Lun, Walaikum salam. Man, Min, Mun, Nan, Nin, Nun, San, Sin, Sun, An, In, Un, Fan, Fin, Fun. Hold up, wait. What do we do here? Check it out. I put a dot under the fa and on the top. Can you do that? Yes. Originally, the fa was written without any diacritical marks. Then when they started writing it with diacritical marks, they put the diacritical mark on the bottom. Then after some time, they put it on the top. So both are allowed. Okay? Don't be pigeonholing your whole understanding. No, it has to be like this. No, because he's madhab. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody's madhab. Okay? Just educate yourself. Okay? This fa is acceptable like that. Even fa is acceptable without the diacritical mark because the shape is different from the qaf. The qaf. Okay? Son. Sin. Sun. Qan. Tin. I'm sorry. Qun. Again, pay attention. I put a squiggly line here and then two dots here and here. Can I do that? Yes. This squiggly line is a representation of these two dots. Again, when you're writing, you might not have time to go just like that. So what you may do, you go like this and just do a line. That means ta. Those are the two dots. So it means qaf. Is that clear? Does anybody need any extra conversation about that? Let's move right along. Qan. Qin. Qun. Run. Rin. Run. Shan. Shin. Shun. 10. 10. Tun. Than. Thin. Thun. You're losing your voice. Raise your voice again. Khan. Khin. Khun. Then. 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 Dhun. Dun. Din. Dun. Dun. Then. Dhun. Ghun. Ghin. Ghun. These are the examples that you will see of tanween. These are all of them. There are no others. This is tanween. Between every letter, there's only these letters. And they only come an, in, un. So it's only going to be ban, bin, bun, or jan, jin, jun, or qan, qin, qun. So look at it. There's nothing strange. And if you can recognize this and you can read this, then we can go forward. Okay? Now, let's go forward. Do you have any questions? Now, you should have learned when you studied Arabic the 4 types of tanween. That's not really a thing that is pounded in a person's head when they study tajweed, but it's mentioned. Why is it mentioned? Because as you're reciting the book of Allah, you should be what? Understanding what the book of Allah is saying to you. And when you see the different tanween, they mean different things. Okay? So before we move ahead, I'm just going to go briefly over this point of the different types of tanween and why it's there and what they represent. The first one is called tamkeen. Say tanweenu tamkeen. Tamkeen. The word, actually, the title is not really important as so much as when you look at it, you can see what is going on, what's being said. Okay? I don't want to confuse anybody. Look, we have tamkeen, we have tankir. I'm writing it in English for transliteration so people can get it. Muqabala and iwad. In Arabic, tamkeen, tankir, muqabala, and iwad. Okay? Now, we're going to go over these right now. The first one is called tamkeen. The tamkeen here, Meccan, is established. This is the tanween that you see after Zaydun. Say Zaydun. Zaydun. It's after any name. Muhammadun. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. You see this. You see the tanween. Right? That tanween is the tanween that you say, or they call it tanween sarf. That's another nickname that they call it. The tanween that comes after names, words that yusarrif, that change. And sarf means what? Change. When you studied Arabic, it says sarf is to change something. Like if you give me $1, I'm going to give you a nickel back. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it goes. So you change it. Yarhamakumullah. So this is the first type of tanween. And it comes on the ends of words that are names, person, place, or things, and these things change in their form. You can say Zaydun wa Zaydan. You know, so you say Ra'aytu Zaydan. So you would say Zaydan at this point. Okay? Marartu bi Zaydin with kasra. Okay? That is tanweenul tankeen. You get it? The basic one and the one that is seen for the most part. Astaghfirullah. What's my time looking at? Okay, good. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need 15 minutes. Subhanakallah. Alhamdulillah. The next tanween that we see is called tankir. Tanweenu, tankir. And nakira is something that is indefinite, if you want to say the term. As a linguistic word, it's something you don't recognize. From that word, we get munkar, something that we don't recognize. You know, nakir and munkar, the two angels that look fierce and they're tough with everybody. You know, that you're going to see as soon as your peoples get like 40 steps away from the grave. You know, these two angels, man rabbuk, who's your Lord? You know, those questions they put on you. Nakira, unknown. Okay, something ugly because you don't recognize it. Okay, so here we find this like if I said, Ra'aytu Zaydan, right? I saw Zaydan, and that's the Zayd we know. Wa Zaydun, and I put a tanween here. This is the Zayd that we don't know. Meaning, wa Zaydun akhar, some other Zayd. Okay? Do you understand what my point right there? Or it's done, a lot of times you'll see it done with a name that is a non-Arab name. Mabniya, ismun mabni. For example, give me an English name, an American name. Paul, okay? So here, we say, Ra'aytu Paul, right? They say, in Arabic, they won't say Paul, but I mean, let me see. Paul would be like this. Bad on the bottom. Paul. Ra'aytu Paul, right? Wa Paulin. You see, so they say, Wa Paulin akhar. Okay? Now this tanween on this name, now his name is Paul. It doesn't take tanween. But we put the tanween on it because we know this is some other Paul that we don't know. Do you understand? So that's where it does most. You won't see it. I shouldn't have used Zayd as an example. Take that out. Use an example from a word that is a name that is not an Arab name. Okay? So like Paul or Sibawayh is the one that you find classically used. Wa Sibawayhin akhar. Some other Sibawayh that we don't know about. Okay, is that clear about that one? And the only reason I'm saying I mention this so we know we're covering all edges right here. This is not the one that you're going to see when we're talking about ahkam al-nun al-sakinah wa tanween. It's tankir. This you aren't going to see it very that much. Okay, well maybe you will because we speak English and we have those English names, so we might use it that way in regular speech. But as far as tajweed is concerned, you won't find it like that, okay, in the Quran. Wallahu a'lam, okay? But just as a point, so we won't belabor the point on it. The next one is muqabala. Again, this is something that you will see, and again, it won't change anything you do, but just so you know. So you have muslimin. Everybody say Muslim. Mean. Okay? Muslimin. Okay? Now here, Muslimina. Then over here, the muqabala is when they say Muslimatun. Muslimatun. This tanween right here is called muqabala. The only reason this tanween is here is because this noon is here. So its tanween is in place of the noon that they have there, that the men have on Muslimin. Does that make sense? Okay, it may not make sense to you because you say, well, why? This is how the Arabic has been naqlan. We've got it, abn an jad. It's been abn an jad, passed down to us, father and son. And so this is how we found the Arabs doing. When the noon was on the men's, saying Muslimin, they put tanween on the ladies' names, where they say Muslimatun. Okay? Muqabilatan, to be in the place of that noon right there. Everybody got me with that? Recognizing it? Now, the last one is the one that we need to understand a little bit more for our usage in the Quran. Because when we use it in the Quran, we want you to know what you're saying. And that's the iwad. Iwad here means it's in place of something else. For example, when you have, and I'm just looking for some of my examples here so that I don't want to confuse anybody. In the iwad, you'll have, let's say, for example, it's coming in place of something else. Not like muqabala. Okay? So here we have qadi. Okay? Qadi. Right? Qadi with ya. But then we'll write it qadin. Now this tanween is in place of this ya. Okay, iwadan, in place of that, yeah, that's right there. Does Does that make sense? So that's one form of iwad. Another form of iwad is when it comes in place of a thought. So it says kullun. Let's use this. Kullun. This is another way that you can write this tanween. Let me write it for you like that. This also means these three. Okay? Kullun yamut. Okay, yamutu. Kullun yamutu. What this tanween means here means kullu insan. You understand? Every person dies. Kullun means every and all. This is all of kullun yamut. Kullun insan. Or kulluna. It could mean that too. Kulluna, all of us die. So this tanween is in place of this insan or this na right there at the end of the word. The dhamir or the actual word. Does that make sense? You sure about that? Okay. So we have that also in the Quran. وَكُلًّا وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الْحُسْنَى. Allah says in the Quran, وَكُلًّا وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الْحُسْنَى. Like that. So it says kullun. It's an insan wal jinn, one male and female. Everybody. Okay, both of the peoples. Okay? So now, the last one, the one that to me is beautiful, is when this tanween comes in place of a whole sentence. And that's when you have the idha, the sentence that starts off with idha. Then, if in most cases, when you see that, you'll find the yawma idhin, hina idhin. Okay? So, let's look at that right quick. You see what I use as an example. Allah says in the Quran, this pen is... فَلَوْلَا إِذَا بَلَغَتْ الْحُقُومِ وأنتم حينئذ see the tanween تنظرون. Okay, now let's examine this statement. فلولا إذا بلغت الحلقوم وأنتم حينئذ تنظرون. Here we have إذن. Right here, everybody see that? إذن. The tanween here is in iwadan, is in place of this whole sentence. Allah says, فلولا. If it's then not the case, if it's not like that, then either when بلغت الحلقوم, when the soul has reached the throat, وأنتم, and you all, حين, at that time, إذن, حين, إذا what? إذا بلغت الحلقوم. Okay? تنظرون. Here at that time, when the soul has reached the throat, you all are standing there watching. You understand? So the idhin here is in place of not having to repeat this whole sentence here. Okay? Does that make sense? So the tanween is a representation of إِذَا بَلَغَتِ الْحُلْقُومِ. So you could say mentally, فَلَوْلَا إِذَا بَلَغَتِ الْحُلْقُومِ وَأَنْتُمْ حِينَ إِذَا بَلَغَتِ الْحُلْقُومِ تَنْظُرُونَ. In Arabic it makes sense. In English, let me try to make it some sense. So when the soul has reached the part of departure from the neck, it's coming up your throat, and you're sitting there watching at the time that the soul has reached the neck and it's about to depart, you're watching. Okay? As opposed to saying on that, then at that time, it's said. Hina even, then at that time. You got it? I see a smile. Tabarakallah. Okay? And that smile means fahm. I understand. So that's what that tanween means. Now, we only went through all of that in order for us all to know what we're talking about. When we start talking about ahkamun nun is sakinah with tanween, we're not just talking in an abstract form. We're talking about these 4 types of tanween, and we're talking about all those different noon and sakinah that we just saw and how they go down. And this is just the title of the chapter. Okay? This is just the title of the chapter, and that's all we're going to deal with today. So you can sit down and soak that up. And when we come back to the next lesson, we're going to deal with the ahkam wa noon as-sakinati wa tanweeni insha'Allah ta'ala. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. See, I still got 5 minutes.